Caribbean is often described as the most tourism-dependent region in the world. A titan is described as one that stands out for greatness of achievement, one who is influential in his field. I'm Marlene Stevenson Daly. Welcome to our podcast. We call it Jamaica's Tourism Titans. It's about the movers and shakers of the industry, men and women who have contributed to its growth and development in Jamaica, the region, and indeed the world. Welcome to another episode of Jamaica's Tourism Titans. I'm Marlene Stevenson Daly, and I'm delighted to have your company today. Now, if you've ever heard of the Gap Cafe, which is near Holywell in Kingston, Jamaica, I should say St. Andrew, Jamaica, in the rural mountains of St. Andrew, or if you've ever visited Devon House and you've gone to their Pizzeria or the famous Grog Shoppe at Devon House, then you would understand that our guest today is someone who has been involved in gastronomy for many, many years. That's only one side of our special guest, though. There's so many other facets that we can talk about today. And I am delighted to have Gloria Palomino, who is the lady of whom we speak inside Jamaica's Tourism Titans. Hi, Gloria. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's so good to have you.
It's a pleasure.
Now, you know, we could talk about a lot of things because you've been around a little bit and you have worn so many different hats. But I want to begin by asking a little bit about your background. Where are you from?
I will. Okay, my father is from Guangdong province in China, and my mother is from Thailand. But I was born in Jamaica.
So how did they get to Jamaica?
Well, I was told that my mother went to Hong Kong to study English, and my father met her there, and they got married in Hong Kong, and then came to Jamaica.
What was the lure? What do you think? What do you suppose? Why did they choose Jamaica?
I often wondered. But I think my father had some relatives here, and they sort of encouraged him to come to Jamaica.
And when they came to Jamaica, where did they settle?
He started out somewhere in Christiana, Borough Bridge, somewhere in that area, in the Christiana area. And then then moved to Newport, where I was born, Newport, Manchester.
And how many siblings are there?
Oh, gosh, it's probably 10, 11 of us.
Wow, that's a big family.
It is.
And what did they do? What did they do for a living?
It's varied. I had a couple of sisters who were living in China, and there was one who was born in Jamaica, went to China when she was 4 years old, and never came back.
Never came back.
And she's still in China.
Oh, my goodness. But you are in touch.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are very much in touch. I go and visit her as often as I can. Yes.
So you can speak any Chinese?
Sadly, no. But they spoke the Hakka dialect in Jamaica, which is from the south, I think. And while I understand the dialect, I don't speak it.
Oh.
We were never told to practice it because my parents wanted to learn more English. So we communicated more in English than in Chinese. But I do understand the Hakka dialect.
All right. Well, I don't have a clue where that is concerned. So maybe you can teach me. How do you say hello in that language?
Strange enough, I don't know.
What can you say in that Chinese?
Docha, thank you.
Say that again?
Docha.
Docha, okay. All right, we're taking notes. So as a little girl with many siblings, you grew up initially you said?
In Newport, Manchester.
Newport, Manchester. What was that like?
It was wonderful. I think I had a lovely childhood. I was born, actually. Not all my sisters were born here. Some were born in China. But the the ones that were born here, we lived in a beautiful old time, what you'd call in those days, great house.
Yes.
Yes, and it was on 10 acres of land. And so we had a lot of space to run up and down, climb trees.
Was there any farming going on?
Yes.
Yes?
My mom had a big vegetable garden. You know, she's big on vegetables.
Yes, yes.
And then there was the usual pimento trees and marmot trees and guavas, stuff like tangerines, oranges, artiniques, everything was there.
What kind of a little girl was Gloria
Yeah.
Palomino? Or Gloria, what was the last name at that time?
Would you believe Lin Ah Ping?
Lina.
Lin Ah Ping.
All right.
Lynahping.
And they wouldn't trouble you at school with that name, right?
Oh, yes, they used to tease me. They used to say, ping-a-ling-ling, ting-ting. And I used to get in trouble because I didn't like it.
What kind of trouble you could you get into? You were looking like the perfect, little girl.
Well, I would try to fight.
No luck.
No luck.
No luck. No luck with winning fights. All right. So you went to Alpha? But even before you went to Alpha?
Before I went to Alpha, I started out at Bethabra Primary School in Newport. And then when we moved to Mandeville, some years later, I attended Manchester High School.
Okay.
And then from Manchester High School, I ended up at Alpha Academy.
Now, that is a Catholic institution.
It is.
With quite a bit of discipline and very high moral standards. What would you have taken away from your time at Alpha? What would you say was the most significant impact of that institution on you as an individual?
I think discipline. And actually, when I got to Alpha, I was more or less an Anglican. And then, it's a Catholic institution.
Yes.
So somehow, while I didn't have any guidance, I sort of swayed over to the Catholic religion. And I ended up becoming a Catholic.
Okay. And then Alpha, you not only completed your high school education, but you also did the commercials?
I did commercial school, yes.
And after that, where did that take you?
Well, it's a bit of a story.
Well, let's hear
After I
it.
graduated from commercial school, I was given a letter to take down to the bank of Royal Bank at Duke Street in Kingston
Yes, at the time.
for a job, because apparently they had arranged for some of the students who had graduated to get a job at the bank at Royal Bank. So I arrived the morning with my letter, and I went up to the receptionist, and she's sitting there, and I said, "Good morning. I have a letter. I'm so-and-so. I was just graduated from Alpha, and I was given this letter for an interview." She did not even open the letter. She just stared at me and said, "I'm sorry, but we don't hire Chinese and black people in the bank." And I said, "What?" She said, "Yes." I was so disappointed and stunned. I went home, and my mother said to me, "What are you doing here? I thought you went for an
a
interview
job."
on the job." I said, "No." And I sat there. I was so stunned. I just said to her, I'll never forget it, "Remember this, Mama. I will never, never, never work for anybody from now on."
How old were you then?
I think I was 18.
All right, so you decided there and then
There and then. I was
with that kind
never
of
going to work with
reception
anybody.
that you got, that you would become your own boss.
Yes.
How did you go about making that a reality?
It's difficult to really put it in words, but I was just determined that I was never going to work for anybody and how to work for myself. But anyway, my brother, who operated the bus company, Mayflower, I used to live on the property where the buses were parked. And we had a huge house in the back, and the garage was up front. And I almost became a mechanic. Because when the buses come in very late,
Yes.
my instruction was learn to drive the buses and put them on the stand so they could be serviced for the next morning. So one of the drivers taught me how to move the bus and how to put it on the ramp.
So we're talking now about the 45-seater buses. These are the big buses.
The
yes.
big blue and white
Yes,
Mayflower buses.
yes.
And so I learned from there.
But you must have been a very tiny person.
I don't know, but I did it.
So you did all of that, and you
I
got
did all
very
of that.
familiar with the whole business of this mechanic and buses
Yes,
and what
yes.
have you.
And I'm not sure if you knew, but during that period, I learned a lot about mechanics and, things, stuff like that. And I actually opened a diesel fuel injection shop not very far from where my brother was, across the street.
All right. So that was your first business
My
venture.
first business venture.
How did that fare?
It did very well. It lasted until 1963, and that was 1959.
All right. So you had a good run.
I had a good run.
You had a
yes.
good run.
But it was very, very successful.
Yes.
And still people call me about their trucks and their buses and what have you.
And the knowledge you probably
And
gained
yes,
during
I
that
did,
time is
yes.
something that will
That's
serve
a
you
whole,
even now.
That's a whole chapter by itself.
Yes.
All those years.
Wow. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. You got into the business of tourism in what year?
I think I started out about 1980 something, in the early 80s.
In the early
yes,
80s.
yeah.
And what was your first venture?
For tourism? Actually, before the Gap Cafe, I don't know how I got roped into TPD Co. And somehow I'm trying to remember where I got involved in there. And, I did quite a bit of meetings with them. And eventually, at one point in time, I was appointed chairman of their resort board.
Oh, the resort board for Kingston.
For Kingston, yes.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think that's where I started my tourism thing. Yes.
And what were some of the things that you did at that time? Those
Well,
were early days
in the
of
early
TPD
days?
Co. Yes.
Well, we went on, we did projects. And we did quite a bit of work at Hope Gardens. We actually did their irrigation system, financed by TPD Co. And we also fixed up their, they had a cafeteria, a little shop, and we all did that. And we did the entrance gate. We beautified the entrance gate and put up a beautiful entry gate. That was my first venture into tourism.
How did the Gap Cafe come about? It's up in the rural mountains of St. Andrew, and there's a beautiful view and all of that.
All right.
How did that come about?
I had a little cottage I built in Greenwich, which is just below Holywell. And
for persons listening in, Holywell is
It's
on the way
Holywell.
to the Blue Mountains
Yes,
here.
it's actually in the Blue Mountains.
Yes, in Jamaica.
So one Sunday afternoon, I'm just sitting there looking up, and I see this building, and I was curious what the building was. So I got up and I started walking up the hill to just find out. I got there and I saw a sort of broken down house. I knocked at the gate, and a little watchman came out. And I said, good afternoon. He said, good afternoon. I says, you live here? No, I'm just a watchman. I says, what place is this? He said, nothing. He said, so you're watching the place? Yes. And I had a discussion with him. And I said, can I look around? He said, sure. So I took me around and showed me. The roof was gone. It was really run down. It was really run down. And I said, who owns it? He said, I don't know. And I thought, oh, he doesn't know. So who pays you? I don't know. I just get my pay every month. Somebody brings it up.
And he just
accepts it.
Yes.
And like a stroke of good luck, it was a Sunday when I had gone up there. And I came down to Kingston, where I had an apartment. And I'm an avid reader of the Gleaner. I feel lost without reading my Gleaner. So I came down, and the first thing I did was to pick up the paper because I don't get it up in Newcastle. So I have to wait until I get down to my apartment. I'm sitting down and I'm reading the Gleaner, back to front. And whoops, something caught my eye. A little ad.
Advertising the same place for sale?
Yes. And I said, what a stroke of luck. It said, looking for a concessionaire for a travel halt in Hollowell. So Monday morning arrived, and knowing me,
You just got on top of it?
I just got on top of it, and I called the number, and it was the Jamaica Tourist Board. And I made an appointment to go and see them about this place.
Yes, yes.
And I can't tell you exactly what date it was, but I did attend the appointment. And when I walked in, and the reception just said, "Oh, they're waiting for you in the boardroom." I said, "Boardroom?" Yes. So I walked into the boardroom, and I said, "Good morning." "Oh, Mrs. Palomino, we know who you are." I said, "I came to ask about that little house up in Hollowell." And I don't remember who said it. They just got up. "Oh, Mrs. Palomino, just take it. Just take it and do whatever you want to do with it." And I said, "Really?" "Yes." Well, I'm here to tell you that it was not until about probably 4 years ago. I actually signed a contract for the whole time I was there. They entrusted me with this building, and I had to fix a roof.
Yes, you did a lot of renovation.
I did a lot of renovation. I put on a deck, did all the electrics and everything, and finally opened in October of, I think it was 88 or 89, somewhere around there. So they told me that the only thing I should serve is just tea, soft drinks, and sandwiches. I said, "That's all?" "Yes." So the first Sunday I opened, I put an ad in the paper, and I said to myself, I don't think anybody going to
come so far for just tea and sandwiches.
Tea and sandwiches. Well, I can't tell you, by about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the place was rammed.
For tea,
for
sodas,
tea,
and sandwiches.
And sandwiches. But they didn't know that all I had, I have to serve. They probably thought it was something different. I didn't put in the ad what I was going to serve.
Okay, but people came just the same.
So listen to this. So my friend, Ambassador Glenn Holden, who was the ambassador to Jamaica, I was very friendly with him and his wife. And they knew that I was going to open. So they arrived about 4 o'clock. And he looked out and he said, "Hi, Gloria, we're here," and thing. I said, "Come down." I said, "But I have nothing to serve. Everything is finished." He said, "You finished everything?" "Yes." So he calls his driver. I don't know who his driver is. He says, "Just write down what you need. Anything you need. Soft drink, cheese, anything you need. And we'll send the driver down to Papine, and he will shop and come back, and we can start serving again." It was so funny. I mean, I think about it, and I start to laugh. Even when I got to bed, someone said, "Oh, gee, how did you do all this?" And I would laugh.
And that is where the gap started. And it's going well
yes,
to today.
But listen to this. We are now in 2024.
Yes.
Let me tell you what happened to me last week concerning the story I'm telling you. That's 1988-89, and now it's 2024. I'm walking out of the Grog Shoppe to go to my car, to the car park, to get home, like about 8 o'clock in the night, last week, Wednesday. I'm walking towards the car, and beside my car was parked a vehicle with a Canadian flag on it. So because I knew they were having some function in Devon House. So I'm walking and trying to open the door, and two drivers standing beside the car came over and said, "That must be you, Gloria Palomino." So I looked and I said, "But how do you know me?" I was like in shock. He said, "You remember when you opened the Gap and Ambassador Holden sent me to Papine to buy some
Other
things for..."
Yes.
I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I was a driver." And he's introducing me now to the other driver.
Yes.
"You see this lady? She's something else, you know."
So many years later.
How many years?
That's a lot of
1980
years
to
later.
2024. And this happened last week, Wednesday.
Oh.
I went home and I said, "Lord, this must be a good sign or something." I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
But
And-
anyway, the Gap has its own history.
Yes.
I learned that the building was built from the Public Works Department when they used to fix bridges and roads. And because of the terrain and the rain and the cold, when they couldn't get down back to Kingston, they built a kind of lean-to.
Yes.
And then they would eventually fix it into a kind of place to store dynamite and stuff, because they had a little room that was built specially
Yes.
to put dynamite, because they used to dynamite roads and open up roads.
Oh
And
my
I
goodness,
learned that
this
little history from them.
This is all interesting history.
Yes.
We're going to have to take a little break, but when we come back, we're going to be hearing more from Gloria Palomino on Jamaica's Tourism Titans.
In tourism, the people are the product. Yes, they are one of our industry's most important assets. They help create memorable lifetime experiences. They, through their service, make the difference. We share the stories of their challenges and triumphs, of what makes them tick, of who they really are, just to inspire you to act positively. You too can be an ambassador for tourism and our country and become a Jamaican tourism titan. Start today.
TPDCo's Explore Jamaica has insights into licensed tourism entities across Jamaica. Visit the Google or Apple Play Store and download the app today. Welcome back to Jamaica's Tourism Titans. We've been talking with Gloria Palomino, a lady who has served the resort board here in Kingston through the Tourism Product Development Company Limited in years gone. She started the Gap Cafe near Holywell around about 1989. And she has been involved in this side of the industry, gastronomy, for several years. She continues to operate the Grog Shoppe at the historic Devon House and also La Pizzeria, which is located at Devon House. And she continues to give of herself. She's a founding member of Woman Inc., and she's also a member of the American Women's Group. And she was awarded the Badge of Honor for Meritorious Service, as well as an Order of Distinction in the officer class for her work with the police. Oh my goodness. She is the founder of the Police Civic Committee for St. Andrews Central. And she's been vice chairman of the Police Civic Committee and in St. Andrew North, and she's done a lot of work in that area. But Gloria, as we welcome you back, let's pick up from the Gap. You were only able in those days to serve sandwiches, soft drink, and, little knickknacks, as we would call it. But you have graduated for some time now to what? Tell us a little bit about the kind of menu that you have and
All
the
right.
Jamaican flavors that you
Well, the
you serve.
sandwiches and tea never lasted for more than 2 weeks, because when people drove up, they said, "That's all you have, we're coming from all over. We need more than that." So it got me thinking, and by the fourth or the fifth week, I was serving curry goat, oxtail, curry chicken, fried chicken, rice and peas, and all the things that the Jamaican people and even visitors liked
Yes.
it. I did a little bit of high tea on a Sunday, and that's how people would just drive up there they would say, I hope you have curry goat.
And they come for the Jamaican
and
cuisine.
They would come for the Jamaican, but we serve a little bit of like pasta at times because some people wouldn't eat, they're vegan. And we had a little bit, not much, but a little bit of vegan if they weren't eating meat.
Yeah, something to offer another palate. How did the Grog Shop come about? And I know you've had some input in terms of places like Lychee Gardens, which is another very well-known Chinese restaurant in Kingston.
I was a partnership in Lychee Gardens, which did Cantonese Chinese food. We were in New Kingston Shopping Center. And
you can cook all of these dishes?
Yeah.
Yes?
I can't, but I can some. But, we had chefs from China, and so that went for a while until my partners decided to return to Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
That was a nice interlude.
But then the Grog Shop, how did that come about? How long has that been going? It's been at Devon House for some time.
Grog Shoppe has been at Devon House for ages and ages. But I applied, I can't remember what year it was, and I was shortlisted, but then I didn't get it that particular year. And then 13, going on 14 years now, I saw an ad, and I reapplied, and I was successful.
Right. And for those persons going to the Devon House, what can you share with us the cuisine, what it is that you have to offer there?
All right.
And why do people keep
we have
coming
an
back?
international menu and a local, because one of the criteria for getting the lease is that since it's a heritage trust and it's in Jamaica, we should have a Jamaican menu.
Yes.
So we do have a full range of Jamaican food. Yes.
How important do you think gastronomy is in terms of how we are selling Jamaica and the fact that people will drive for food, will walk for food, will fly for food?
It's amazing that people do. I think, would you believe that people from even Spain and was calling us, how do we make the pizza Jamaicanized, like with ackee and callaloo? It's amazing.
It's interesting. I saw recently, I think, your chef at the Pizzeria.
Yes.
Doing a Jamaican pizza, which looked like the gold and the green. And
yes.
I don't know if it had like callaloo.
Yes, callaloo.
Ackee
and we tried to use some Jamaican produce in there. But that's a big seller. The callaloo with the ackee, big seller.
Yes, yes. And it's very healthy too.
Very healthy. And our crust, we don't use any trans fat or anything like that. It's purely virgin olive oil from start to finish.
And it's done in a brick oven?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, we know where we need to come and check out for the vegetarian almost pizza.
Yes.
And lots of different kinds of toppings that you have to offer there.
We have jerk chicken, jerk pork, topping.
Okay.
So,
nice. So we now know where we can visit to get a Jamaican pizza with all the toppings and the flavors of Jamaica. Now, Gloria, you have been involved with the Police Civic Committee. How did you get involved in that, and why?
And when I tell you this, don't laugh. When the police station at Constant Spring was being built and it was finished, I knew an inspector. I don't know, I think his wife was a friend of mine from Alpha, and then she married this guy. And I remember his name was Winston Cox. And he said to me, I'm going to be transferred to Constant Spring Police Station. And I wonder if you could help me. I'm going to be there alone trying to sort things out. And I need somebody to help me do some typing and thing at the office. I said, sure, I'll help you. So it wasn't even open yet. They were just getting ready. And I had to go there and do a few things for him in the office. It wasn't opened officially. So I used to go there and help them do a few things with the office. But it ended up more than that. I was planting flowers. I was putting in a lawn and stuff like that. And then they finally opened up. And a complement of police and superintendent and everything took place and everything. So I used to drop in once in a while to just say hello. And one of the cops who was there, he looked at me one day and he said, "You seem to be such a nice lady. You want to help us do something?" And I said, "Like what?" He said, "I tell you what. I'm going up to Lawrence Tavern police station. You want to ride with me and come and see, what we do?"
Yes.
But quite apart from that, before I get there, my father in Newport, Manchester, I don't know what association he had with the police then, because I was only 7 years old, when he used to send me on a Saturday morning with a tin of black polish, a brush and a rag, and a tin of liquid silver polish. And he would send me over to the police station and sit on a little step downstairs, and I would clean every policeman's shoes and clean their buckle every Saturday morning. And I look back and I think maybe that's where I had the memories of the police.
What was he teaching you by giving you that task? What do you think
I think
he wanted to teach you?
I think he wanted to teach me giving back and being kind to people. And I've lived that thing for my entire life. People who know me knows me. And I think it's even registered on somewhere that, yes, I used to clean policeman's shoes. And I can take you to this step today.
That you used to sit on as a young girl?
Yeah.
To clean the
and
shoes.
I didn't complain because your father said you got to do it.
Yes.
You do it. You don't ask any questions.
You just go ahead and do as you're told.
Yes.
Yes.
So I got in the car and I drove with the police superintendent up to Lawrence Tavern. And it was a little old house, a rickety old house. And I was learning and I walk around and I look, and he took me around the back. And when I opened the back door and I looked down the back, I saw a cheese pan. The tasty cheese pan. And 3 stones with fire underneath it. They were cooking breakfast.
In a cheese pan?
In a cheese pan. I don't know what was in there. But I said, "What are they cooking on?" I said, "Oh, they're breakfast." So what I did when I came down back to the station that same day, I went out of my own money. I bought them a stove, some pot and pans, plates, knife and fork, and glasses, and donated it to Gordontown Police Station. And I think that is where it all started. From the shoes cleaning to that. And I have never left them.
Yes.
Until today, I'm still working and helping them the best way I know how.
And that's so important because, these men and women of the force need to feel that they have our support as a community.
Yes. And then, of course, the women of the police force, I think because they're among so many men, nobody think of them as being thing. And I remember setting up a particular room at Constant Spring Police Station for the females who, if they felt a little sick
or anything
like that, they could have their own little area, and it was dedicated to them alone. And it was really, really appreciative because there are times when they were overworked and they just felt that they just need to sit down for 5 minutes and take a break.
And you were honored for 47 years of your contribution to the Police Civic Committee with a badge of honor and then later an Order of Distinction in the officer class. Yes. Well deserved, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to find out about your sojourn in Trenchtown Culture Yard, because that is also part of our tourism product here in Kingston.
Yes.
It's one of those places that people will come from far and near
I
to
will
see
tell
and
you
to
stories of
experience this whole
Trenchtown.
lure of Trenchtown
Yeah.
and Bob Marley and Peter
while,
Tosh. And
yeah. So while I was at TPDCO and the resort chairman, they had formed a committee down in Trenchtown called Trenchtown Development Association, and the then Governor General, Sir Howard Cook, was the patron at that time.
yes.
And he called me up and he said, Gloria, I can't go to meetings down in Trenchtown. I'm going to send you down there to represent me at the meetings. So I accepted and I went down there at the meetings.
And I'm bearing in mind that you are a lay magistrate, you're a justice of the peace, and a
and
long time
yeah.
serving lay magistrate.
Right,
so
yes.
you would have represented him through
I'd
that
exactly.
capacity. Yes.
So I went down there and they had all kind of plans going on. You know, they want to do this, they want to do that, and a lot of stuff they want to do down there. And I was really gung-ho, and I could see the possibilities of doing many things down there. And then they took me around to the Trenchtown. It wasn't Trenchtown Culture Yard then. It was just the yard where Bob Marley and his family lived when they first came to Kingston. And I think Sister Grace Yap, who was also down there, I met her, and she took me on tour and said, you know, we need some money to fix up this place. We could do this, we could do that. And since I was resort board chairman, I took my idea to the meeting. And eventually after a lot of meetings, but why you would want to do anything in Trenchtown, you know? I said, but I see the possibilities down there. And they decided, yes, we're going to give well, I don't know how did it work with that, but I had a meeting with TPDCO, and they took on the job. I got $4.5 million, and we fixed up the place.
Wonderful.
Right?
And even recently, I remember TPDCO doing a performance stage in that area.
Yes.
Yes, and giving it access to persons who are physically challenged and putting in some
The
bathrooms.
ramps and things.
Yes.
Well,
so
I don't know
work
if you,
continues.
Well, there are two
Work continues
interesting
through
stories
TPDCO.
of Culture Yard, which I am going to tell you. I found an old bath pan that told me that Bob Marley used to bathe in there, and a grip, right? And I took the bath pan and the grip aside.
All right, and for our foreign listeners, the grip is
A grip,
a suitcase, a small
it's a real
suitcase.
grip.
Yes.
But I found an old guitar, and they told me that was the last guitar he played and left there. I took that guitar, and I went to Cindy Breakspeare. I had the guitar underneath my bed for about 6 months just to find Cindy.
Yes.
And I took both the bath pan, the grip, and the guitar to Cindy. And I sat down to Cindy and I said, Cindy, I don't know what you can do, but is there any way you can renew this guitar for me? She said, it looks possible. I said, what are you going to do with the bath pan? She said, I don't think I can do about the bath pan, but I can do something about the grip. Maybe I could fix it, you know?
Yes.
And so, tell you the truth, I still have the bath pan. But anyway, I got the guitar fixed, and I took it to Trenchtown, and I made a thing,
Yes.
and I put it in there, and I said, nobody interfere with this guitar. That was the last
And
guitar.
it's now part of the relic
Of the thing.
Yes.
But you know what upset me more than anything else? You know that VW van they had there?
Yes.
I made all arrangements with Sinclair's Garage at the time, who were the VW distributors dealer for Jamaica. I went down there myself, and I said, listen, you want to make some money and VW make some money? I have this old van down that Bob Marley used to tour in. Can you go for it? Take it down here and restore it. Put everything in it. And you write VW in Germany, and tell them that it is their expense to fix it, and they can get some advertisement that it was Bob Marley's thing. Well, let me tell you something. They came for the van, took it down to Hanover Street at Sinclair's garage, and I was so happy. They're going to fix it. I got a commitment from them. Yes, we're going to fix it and restore it. About a month later, somebody from Trenchtown who called me, Mrs. P, why them go take the van back from down the garage and bring it back here? To tell you the truth, is because I'm in your studio, I raised one hullabaloo, X-rated thing. Who the hell went and picked it up? The Rastas down there don't want it to be restored. It must stay same way. I went down there and I didn't think they was going to haul me off to prison because the amount of bad words I cursed was the ordinary. So it upset me so much. You go down here now, it's a shell. It's all rotted down. Now, if they had just listened to me, they would have something to show. No, I'm telling you. Yeah. So I fix up the office. I give them desk and chair and set them up with telephone and give them a nice office. And somebody trained them to do tours from TPD Co. And that is where Trenchtown started. And everybody's going. The Japanese people used to come down and lie down on the ground and kiss the ground.
Wow.
Did you know that? Did you know that?
No, not that they would come and kiss the ground.
No, I'm telling you, I've actually seen them bend down and kiss the ground.
Wow. Gloria Palomino, what keeps you going? What keeps you going?
I'm mad, totally mad.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
I tell you. I only just hope I have the energy to do more for Jamaica. I love Jamaica, and I tell you, on my last breath, I will help them, whatever it is necessary to do, to make it a better place. I try in my own little way, in all kind of little things, to make it a better place. Yeah.
And I'm sure gratitude is a must, and that would have been extended.
I don't think
in
about
different
even
ways.
Thank you or anything. I just do it because it needs to be done, and that's me.
What's your philosophy on life?
There's so many, but it's so many. I just want to do everything that is good. That's all.
Do good, and good will follow you.
And just do good.
It has been a pleasure talking with you today, and
I hope I didn't bore you.
No, you didn't bore me. You didn't bore me. And I just commend your energy and your tenacity. And you've been at this for some time, and you just
I'm
keep
still
going.
doing.
And you just keep going. It's like the Energizer bunny. You keep going and going and going. And I'm sure you have helped so many people along the way. You've been an inspiration to many. You know, you work with the police, you work with the Trenchtown Culture Yard, you work with Woman Inc. We haven't even had a chance to talk about that.
Oh, that's another story of my life.
And of course, your time spent in the whole subsector of gastronomy in Jamaica, whether it was through Lychee Gardens or whether it is through the Gap Cafe or the Pizzeria now and the Grog Shoppe. You've always had that hand in the pot, so to speak. And we want to thank you so much for sharing with us today. And
it was a pleasure talking to you.
All the best.
Thank you so much.
All the best. Our special guest on Jamaica's Tourism Titans, coming at you from a little different angle today, but sharing some of the wonderful people who are part of the fabric of Jamaica on this program and who continue to make their contribution to Jamaica's tourism industry. Until next time, blessings. Thank you so much for listening to Jamaica's Tourism Titans. We welcome your feedback at letusknow@tpdco.org. Leave us a comment, share, like, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TPDCOJA. I'm Marlene Stevenson Daly. See you soon.